Salvete omnes. If you'd like to support the channel along with these patrons, I'd really appreciate the support. There's a link in the description box below. In this lesson, we'll learn some Latin and a little bit about Roman homes, or the Domus. This story's lesson will be a description of the traditional home in ancient Rome. The story begins with the sentence, Ecce Domus Romana. The word ecce is used to call attention to something, so it's like saying behold or look at. And Domus Romana means Roman house. Remember, domus is weird because it looks like a second declension noun but is feminine. So the adjective Romanus is in feminine form. And domus actually declines with a mixture of second declension and fourth declension endings. Domus in urbe erat, et taberna ante domum erat. If you remember, taberna means store. As you can see in the picture, many Roman homes had a store ante domum, or in the front of the house. When ante is used as a preposition, it triggers the accusative. Another preposition that triggers the accusative is juxta, or next to, as in taberna juxta ostium erat. The store was next to the door, or the entrance. Remember, when you juxtapose two things, you place one thing juxta the other. And we actually have the word ostium, but it's probably only familiar to people who studied anatomy. Instead, you can remember this by thinking, I ostracized him by shutting the ostium on him. And what declension and gender is this noun? Second declension neutral, like vinum. The plural form is in the next sentence. In domus erant duo ostia. In the house there were two doors. And neutral nouns have the same nominative and accusative forms for both plural and singular, as in the next sentences. Dominus per ostium magnum intrabat. Servi per ostium parum intrabant. The master used to enter through the large door. The servants used to enter through the small door. Another word we'll see in the story is ancilla, which is the female version of servant. These are all words we've seen before except per. Latin uses this word more like in the expression send it per express. So it means through or by means of. And using the perfect past tense, can you think of how to say he or she walked through the forest? Per sirvam ambulavit. For the next sentence, try to guess what the new word means. Dominus dives in magno domo cum multis servis habitabat. The rich master lived in a large house with many slaves. I think this is the first third declension adjective we've seen, but it can also be used on its own as a noun to mean rich man, which means that sometimes it can be ambiguous, as in diveses quod diligenter laborabas. You are rich because you work hard. Or the first half could also mean you are a rich man. And maybe you can remember this by thinking a rich man, dives, can work on his dives because he owns a pool. Note also that in the original sentence, magno domo and multis servis are the singular and plural forms of the ablative case. Now we have more description of the house. In domus Romana magnum atrium cum impluvio erat. Pluvia in impluvium cadebat. Atrium has the same meaning as atrium in English, an entrance hall. But as you can see from the picture, it looks a little different than what you might be used to. This is because in the center of the room they had an impluvium, which was used to catch rain, or pluvia. This was then filtered through layers of sand and gravel and served as a naturally cooled water supply for the family. And maybe you can associate pluvia with puddles or plumage raining down. The other new word in the second sentence was cadebat, or cadere. This has many connections to English words, so you can take your pick between cadaver, cascade, decadent, whichever helps you remember this word. The following example sentence is practically English. Autumno folia cadunt. Leaves, or foliage, fall in autumn. Then we have in atrio nullae fenestrae erat, quad iuxta atrium multa cubicula erant. Before, we saw that the plural of ostium was ostia, and here we see the plural of cubiculum. This is where English got the word cubicle, and the word cubare means to lie down, so this was the word for a small bedroom. The other word we don't know is fenestra, which means window. So this sentence means, in the atrium there were no windows because next to the atrium there were bedchambers. This story is a good practice for the ablative case because the next sentence also contains the singular and plural ablative forms of cubiculum. In cubiculis familia et servi dormiebant, sed multi servi in uno cubiculo parvo dormiebant. The family and servants slept in the bedchambers, but many servants used to sleep in one bedchamber. Kinda sad, huh? Nota bene, all the sentences were in the imperfect past tense for two reasons. Erat and its derivatives were used because they were descriptions, and the rest were used because they were describing what used to be done. They used to enter, they used to live, they used to sleep, rain used to fall. Keep this in mind as we go through the story in full now. Ecce domus Romana. Domus in urbe erat, et taberna ante domum erat. Taberna iuxta ostium erat. In domus erant duo ostia, ostium magnum et ostium parvum. Dominus et familia per ostium magnum intrabant. Servi et ancillae per ostium parvum intrabant. Dominus dives in magno domo cum multis servis habitabat. In domus Romana magnum atrium cum impluvio erat. Pluvia in implurium cadebat. In atrio nullae fenestrae erat, quad iuxta atrium multa cubicula erant. In cubiculis familia et servi dormiebant, sed multi servi in uno cubiculo parvo dormiebant. If you'd like to know more about Roman houses, check out the link to Wikipedia in the description box below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and if you can, help support the channel on Patreon, where there are audio downloads and transcripts of each dialogue and story. Gratias!